I'm Jamie Lewis. Welcome back to the Bassist.net. We're currently in Chesterfield, Michigan. I think that's where we are. I'm on tour with Shim Moore currently at the moment, and I've got this really cool product that Yurko over here from BackBeat has brought down to me. These guys are based out of Detroit, and to my best understanding, this is one of the greatest inventions for any bass player because it's a personal subwoofer, right? That's what we're dealing with here?
That's exactly right, Jamie. It's specifically made for bass players to be able to feel their bass when they're on stage.
Which is particularly important for me on this tour, because if you look over here, you'll see there's a guitar amp. There's no bass amp. there was no bass amp in the budget for this run, so I'm completely just going in-ears right here, and whatever bass I can get out of the wedge, I try to stand on the sub as often as possible, but you know, as a bass player playing in ears and getting rid of the amps and stuff, what we lose is the frequencies, the woomph. We don't feel the bass anymore. We can hear it perfectly, but we don't get any of the feel, and that's precisely what this product was designed to do, right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, to bring that visceral feeling back to playing bass when you're using in-ears. Basically, we come out of the bass with a 1/4-inch connection
into the red one,
straight into the red jack, and then out of the black jack we have it's a true bypass. So in this configuration, we go out into a wireless, but you could also go out into a DI box, or
but then you'd be wired connected.
Then you'd be wired, exactly. But it's flexible. You could go anywhere we usually go. You could go to an amplifier if you wanted to as well, or a pedal.
And you said this is passive, right? So meaning no tone degradation, no coloration.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So it's true bypass. It connects directly to the connection inside, and there's no tone change or volume or dB change at all with going through the true bypass. So the button in the middle turns it on and off. This knob on the right is the thump. You can adjust from 0 to max.
And we got it on max.
Yeah, we got it on max for this particular bass. And then this also controls a headphone volume. It has a headphone jack on the back of it, so you could plug in a headphone, and you can use the BackBeat to practice.
I see two 1/8-inch jacks.
Exactly. So the headphone is on the right-hand side. This 1/4-inch jack is Auxilary Input.
So you can plug in your phone.
So you can plug in your phone and practice. Exactly.
Okay, I'm seeing another jack over here.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the DC recharging port. So that's where you plug it into the wall, you plug your BackBeat in, and you recharge it.
So you don't have to change batteries on this. It charges itself?
Correct.
Brilliant. How long do you get on a full charge?
It depends. About 4 to 5 hours of continual use.
Enough to make it through the gig.
Yeah, enough to make it through the gig, and it takes about an hour of time to charge it up.
To get a full charge?
Full charge, exactly.
So sound check, plug this thing in, and you'll be good to make it through the whole entire set.
Exactly.
Awesome. So what we're gonna do today and for the rest of this tour is keep this BackBeat on this bass. This is my Gibson Grabber. And then I'm gonna play this every single night for the rest of the tour. We've got, how many days do we have left? 12? 10? We have a lot.
Many days.
We're not even halfway done yet, so we got a lot more to go. So I'm going to put this thing through its paces on its tour, on this tour, and then I've got another bass on this show. I'm going between two. This bass in drop C, and then another one in drop D. And that second bass is not going to have one of these on it. So every single night, I'm going to go from having the BackBeat to not having the BackBeat. In between the, I'm changing basses each and every song, and we'll kind of see what it feels like. I'll come back at the end of the tour. I'll do a full recap on it and give you my honest thoughts on what I think.
Yeah, I hope you absolutely hate using the other bass without the BackBeat. That's my hope. That's really what I want.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes, man. Well, dude, thanks so much,
absolutely,
man.
Absolutely, appreciate it, Jamie. Thank you so much.
All right, well, as you can see, I'm finally back home. And actually, I was able to use this thing at about 10 different shows on the tour. And I've also played with it about 7 or 8 times locally here in town. So I'm sure you're all wondering right now, what do I actually think of the BackBeat? Well, just like every piece of gear that I review here at thebassist.net, I'm gonna tell it like it is. I'm gonna give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So first, let's give credit where credit is due. This thing does exactly what they say it does. It's a personal, wearable subwoofer that brings the rumble back when you're playing on stage without any amplification. I can confirm that with 100% honesty. And in fact, I actually might go as far as saying that the rumble you get from the BackBeat is in a way better than the kind of rumble you would get from having amplifiers on stage. And here's the reason why. Imagine I've got two 8x10s behind me, two refrigerators. Well, as long as I'm standing right here, great, I can feel it. But when I go to the other side of the stage, or when I go to the drum riser over there, I lose the rumble. How come? Because the speakers aren't behind me anymore. This thing is attached to you. It's stuck to my back the whole entire time. So no matter where I go, I'm gonna feel it. So in terms of feeling the rumble, you can take it with you anywhere on stage. And so honestly, I think it actually kind of one-ups having an amplifier in that respect. And actually, to be honest, I was kind of pissed at Yurko for only bringing me one of these things. I asked him to bring two, and he was like, oh no, it'd be a good idea if we just bring one. That way you can do half and half. It made me dread playing the bass that didn't have the BackBeat on it, which was a solid 45 minutes of the set. We did about 75 to 80 minutes. So 45 minutes with the BackBeat, 45 minutes without it. After the first night, I was getting ready to call him and be like, yo, send me the second one. We did the experiment, we're good. And I can also confirm that if this unit dies on you mid-set, you're gonna be fine. Again, because it's a passive connection. It's just sending your signal through. So purposely, I didn't charge it one day just to see what would happen. Of course, it died and everything was fine. The bass still kept coming through. However, I did have like a deer in the headlights kind of look on my face because all of a sudden all the rumble went away. And I was like, oh no, what happened? I started checking cables. I was like, oh no, wait, no, bass is still there. I just couldn't feel it anymore. Now, to be fair, I do need to talk about some of the areas where the BackBeat fell short for me personally. And again, this is after 10 days of touring with it and 7 or 8 local gigs, okay? So number one, I wish that the BackBeat could preserve a stereo image. Meaning, well, at the moment, it can accept a stereo source, a TRS cable, but the output stage is always gonna be mono. And here's the way that I would like to use it. I don't wanna plug my bass into it. I wanna plug my in-ear monitors into it. That way, I don't just get the rumble from my bass guitar, but also the kick drum or the toms or anything else that has low end in it. If I use it with my in-ears right now, and I've got things panned out all over the place because I'm stereo, well, as soon as I use the BackBeat, everything goes right down the center, and that's just a terrible way to play with in-ears in mono. So yeah, if this thing could output stereo, I'd be doing backflips right now, because that's like the coolest thing I could possibly think of. And second, I wish that there was a switch on here to go between a passive bass and an active bass, because one's about 10 dB hotter than the other. So at the moment, you have to buy a BackBeat for your passive basses, and then you have to buy a separate one for your active basses. This one here is intended for an active instrument, and both of the ones that I took on tour were passive basses. So we ended up putting this one on the bass that had a hotter output, and we just cranked the BackBeat as hot as it could go. But technically, if I was using an active bass, I would get even more rumble from this thing. Number three, and honestly, I'm just trolling for faults here at this point, but let's be honest, it is another thing that you need to take care of. It's another thing that you need to remember to bring with you. It's another cable that can go wrong. It's another power adapter that you need to remember to bring. And actually, while we're talking about power, I wish that this thing was USB powered. That way, if you do forget your power adapter for it, well, we've all got like 10 USB cables surrounding us at any given moment these days. And a lot of stomp box pedals and things can be powered by USB. I'm not an electrician, so I don't know if it's possible to do that with this, but that would be a cool feature. And number four, it is a bit clunky to connect to your strap. You can see it's there's just these claws here, and it just slides right on there. I remember getting to the venue and setting up my bass rig, and I'd put this thing on the strap, and then I'd put my bass on and be like, oh, you know what? It's too high up on my left shoulder. I need to scoot it down. So I'd take it off, and these things are so tight, you would have to take it off, go down a few inches, put it back on. Okay, put the bass on. 1 more inch, I went too far or whatever. So it did take a minute, to get it installed on the bass. So I don't know, maybe it would be cool to have some sort of like aftermarket harness that, connects to your strap. That way it's not going anywhere. Maybe you can slide it around and then lock it in place somehow. I don't know. Somebody else smarter than me will design it. But then also it would keep it from flying off in the event that you rock out too hard. And one last feature I would like to see on the BackBeat is to see these 1/4-inch jacks threaded. That way your cable doesn't accidentally come out. That would be a really awesome feature to have here. And the reason why I say that is because this actually happened to me, not on tour, but when I got home. I was playing a local gig, I pick up my bass, I put it on, I start playing, and nothing's coming out. But I'm feeling the rumble from the BackBeat on my back, so I'm like, what the heck's going on? I'm looking down the pedal board, is there a cable that's lying around? Is there a light that's not on? I'm checking my bass, the cable, I'm like, what the heck's going on? I go and I grab this thing, and the cable that's plugging, not into the bass, but coming out of this and going to my amplifier, it had come out like maybe a centimeter or so. So maybe when I was picking it up, like my foot was on the strap and caused it to come loose somehow. I don't know, but some feature to safeguard or prevent that from happening, that would be an awesome feature. Now, to be fair, before filming this video, I called up Yurko and I told him all the things that I just told you. And here's what he came back with. He said currently they are working on creating a stereo version of the BackBeat, so that's on its way. He said they're going to be adding a passive active switch, and also they're definitely going to be threading the 1/4-inch jacks on all future iterations of this unit. So if any of that stuff was a deal breaker for you, just hold on till the next version. So I guess the million-dollar question is the BackBeat worth it? Well, I mean, obviously I can't make that decision for you, but I can definitely tell you what I think. So here's the thing. Before I buy a new piece of gear, I'm always asking 3 questions. Number 1, does it make my job easier? Number 2, does it make me sound better? Number 3, does it make me play better? And the answer for this product is unequivocally, well, no. Plugging into this box doesn't make it any easier to play the bass, it doesn't improve the quality of my sound or my signal chain, certainly doesn't make me play any better or any worse. And granted, this is coming from somebody who's played with in-ear monitors for, 12 years now with no amps on stage, so I am very familiar of not having the rumble when I perform live. But I have to admit it, even though it didn't make the gig any easier, it made it a lot more fun. I legitimately enjoyed having this thing on my strap and feeling the rumble again. So I guess really you just have to decide for yourself how much you're willing to pay for a novelty item, which this is. And if you're having trouble answering that question, let me do this. Do you have a Netflix subscription? Do you have an $800 smartphone in your pocket right now? Because if you do, then I think you know exactly how much you're willing to pay for novelty items. For me personally, I'd say that this is a win. I've used it at every single gig since meeting Yurko in Detroit, and to be honest, Yurko, you're not getting it back. You're gonna have to come all the way to Los Angeles and pry this thing out of my cold, dead hands. So that's where I stand with this thing. Necessary? Certainly not, but enjoyable? Absolutely. So make sure you go check them out at getbackbeat.com. Be sure to tell them that Jamie sent you. And if you have any questions at all, just drop them in the comment section below. But to be honest, if you have technical questions, Yurko and his staff are way more qualified to answer those than I am. So just shoot them a message over at their website. Hey, if you like what I do, then please give this video a thumbs up and also be sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting this button over here. And if you really like what I do, then click on this button down here and come hang with me at thebassist.net. Also be sure to check out the Bassist podcast. New episodes go up each and every week. And until next time, stay well, and I'll see you again here at thebassist.net.